Tick tock, tick tock. Just waiting for the clock to get to 11. But hey, everybody, it's good to see you. Oh, so happy you're here. We're on video. Look. Oh my gosh.
You're a star.
Speaking of TikTok, I guess we're about to be on there, huh? Well, Bonnie, you let me know when it's time. I hate hearing people talk with a mask because I can't hear it.
No, I said, do whatever you want. Make some music. Then we'll start.
All right. So is this clock good?
That's your standard.
And Doug said that Sarah usually does like a prelude. I'm like, oh, good for her, because I'm not doing it.
Well, we get to talk with you.
But
Birthdays we could sing to?
we have what?
Any birthdays in the room?
I don't know. Birthdays?
This month.
Oh, Bonnie. What? No, wait. You were last month. Oh, she's still, okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy very, very late birthday to Bonnie. Happy birthday to you. All right. Ting, ting, ting. I think we're ready to go. And I need percussion. So, 1, 2, everybody clap. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, beautiful day. Go. Thank you for this day, Charlie. This day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, beautiful day. This beautiful, beautiful, my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful friends. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful friends. And now we have today is a new day, new day, new day. And I can see a new way, new way, new way. It's gonna be good, gonna be good, gonna be good. Everything is new today. Today's made of soft clay, soft clay, soft clay. And I can shape it my way, my way, my way. Gonna be good, gonna be good, gonna be good. 'Cause everything is new today.
So did that come back to you all? Remember those? Isn't it wonderful to have Mary Lynn in the house? Yeah. Thank you so much for filling in today and being here, and we welcome you home. And thank all of you. Yay, yay. So, I'm already out of breath just from doing that. A little aerobics there. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center, and I want to welcome you today to this space in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. And I welcome anyone visiting for the first time, although I don't see any new faces. And remind you that we have a newsletter. Check it out. It fills you in on what's going on during the week. And I want to thank everyone. I was hoping more of the people that help with the treasure sale would be here today. I guess it's taking them 2 weeks to recover. But those of you who did help, please stand and helped. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much. There we go. Yes, we did. We did as we always hope to, very well, and I'm grateful to everyone. And it went so smoothly, and I didn't have to join this time. We were able to do it without me. That was really good. I got to celebrate my birthday. I got to join the people drawing Medicare this year. It's hard for me to believe, actually. And I see Will and Sergio in the room. Will, I went to see Godspell as part of my birthday, something I did back when I was in high school, and I felt like, I haven't gotten any older. What's this about? How did this happen? It was a wonderful performance. Very good job, you guys. It was great. And the current board will be meeting one more time prior to the annual meeting, and that will be this next Sunday on the 14th, and our board meetings are open if you're curious about what the board does, and if you're still possibly thinking about joining the board, feel free to come to that meeting and see what it's all about and let the board know that you're interested in doing that. And then, of course, we're looking forward to our annual meeting, which will be May 21st. Hopefully you all got letters, if you're members, to remind you, and you will be getting Zoom invites the Saturday before. You can come to the meeting whether you're a member or not. It's just that the only people that can vote are members. We will have a potluck between the service and the meeting, so please bring something to share. Don't let that keep you away, though. If that's too much, just bring yourself. We want you here. We want you participating and voting. And I will be Zooming in from Scotland at 8 o'clock my time at night to be with you at 1 o'clock here. So let's just hope technology works, and I will get to see you all through that amazing technology. And we have people on Zoom today, so hello to them as well. And we will have a 5-week, a shorter summer class that I'll be starting up when I get back, June 6th through July 11th on Tuesdays from 1:30 until 4:30. The book study that's normally at that time is taking their hiatus, so I slid into that slot, and then the book study will start up again after we're done with the class. So please join us. I'm doing this class a little differently since it's got very little requirement to it. There's not a required book. It's just the notebook that we'll be working through. And I'm just going to charge the $45 that I have to send to home office, and we'll do love offerings for the rest. So please join us for this and get a reconnect or a new connect with what it is we teach. And if you have any friends that you'd like to introduce to this teaching, that would be a great class to start them off in. And for now, speaking of new people, we have someone who is joining the center today. It is always an amazing and a joyous occasion when we formally welcome new members to the center. So I'm going to start off by just reminding us, what does it mean to be a member here at the center? It is a commitment to spiritual growth in an atmosphere of freedom to grow spiritually at our own pace and to evolve our own working philosophy of ideas and beliefs. It is a commitment to building a life of joy, ease, and love in an environment where we recognize and embrace the importance of spiritual community in supporting and empowering our spiritual and personal journeys. What naturally follows is the growth of our spiritual community. It is an affirmation of alignment with the philosophy and the teachings of Science of Mind. It is an open statement in one's belief that their spiritual center is of great value personally. It is having a sense of ownership in our center and expressing that ownership through sharing of time, talent, and treasure. And so we are recognizing that this is what this person is doing today. Our board president isn't here, so I've asked Edie, who's also on the board, to join us as a board representative. And would our new member, Carrie Porter, please come forward? There she is. Come on up. We are very excited because if you got the letter, you probably saw her face. She is not only interested in joining us, she's interested in joining the board, so you'll be voting on that in a few weeks. But we are welcoming her on today, and this is both a joyous occasion and a contemplative one. By choosing to become a member of this center, you are making a commitment to grow spiritually and to focus this growth in fulfilling your dreams. For this is a place that believes that the spiritual power we seek already lives within us, and we are eager for it to be discovered and expressed. Do you declare your commitment to spiritual growth and expressing this growth and fulfilling your dreams?
I do.
You have responded to the call of Spirit, whose desire it is to express its greatness and magnificence through you and to grow and expand your spiritual community. You are living proof that when Spirit has a desire, its creation automatically responds. You are the living, breathing demonstration of God in action as the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. In the words of Ernest Holmes, our founder, the essence of our teaching is, all is God or Spirit, and God is all there is. As you believe, so it is done unto you. Our duty in life is to love and live fully. And when you change your thinking, you change your life. By becoming a member, you are committing yourself to further exploring this universal truth teaching, this pathway that Ernest Holmes chose to call religious science or science of mind, a teaching that is also now known by the Centers for Spiritual Living. Do you declare to commit to the study and application of this universal truth teaching as you come to understand it?
I do.
By becoming a member, you are helping to make a difference in the world, and you are joining with like-minded people all over the world who share a common vision. You are joining people of all faiths that fully embody the universal truths shared across all religions, ancient and new. CSL in Las Cruces is a place where people grow, and we do that by teaching and practicing the universal spiritual principles captured in the science of mind, and we live our vision, a world in loving partnership for the good of all. Do you support this vision?
I do.
Our desire is to live fully and consciously through inspiration, education, spiritual community, and service. We do this through 5 spiritual practices: receptive prayer or meditation, affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, spiritual study, service, and conscious giving. Do you support and hold in your heart the desire to live life fully in this way?
I do.
We are a spirit-centered community of light, love, and laughter that honors and celebrates the many paths of God. We celebrate the diversity of all people, of all religions and walks of life. Do you support and celebrate life in this way?
I do.
So would you please sign our membership book? And Edie has a rose for you that symbolizes your inherent beauty and divinity.
Thank you.
And your name tag. Welcome on board. You now have the rights and responsibility of voting members of this spiritual community. We encourage you to attend the business meeting, to cast your vote, and our visioning sessions to contribute to the overall vision and direction of this center. And so now to all of you who are here today, please rise as you are able. Do you agree to be this new member's spiritual family and to welcome her and support her on this journey to which she has just committed?
I do.
Thank you. In recognition of the commitment that you have made to your spiritual growth and to the growth of our center, it is our joy to welcome you into our spiritual community. So please, once again, we welcome Carrie Porter. Thank you. And we will see you more.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Oh.
1, 2, 3. I see me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're so excited. Yay. It's always good to add people to our community. And now, our practitioner in service, Doug Bailey.
Thank you. What a fun day to.
We're dancing up here.
No, never mind. That's the reason I'm such a happy guy, is that I have a magnificent bride. So, what a wonderful day, and what a wonderful pleasure to be up here looking at all your smiley faces. And that said, I better put my glasses on. I understand that I dance up here, so I'm going to try to restrain from doing that.
Why?
Well, it's just so much fun to be in front of all these wonderful people. It just, We believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. In front of you are prayer requests, or, And if anybody has anything that they're dealing with that they would like to dispose of for a little period of time, you can fill those out, and there you go. That's my coach. And in the back, there's the God can. If you would put him in there. We have a magnificent team that meets on Tuesday afternoon. It has representatives of ministers and practitioners from all 4 of the centers locally, and they do a magnificent job of supporting you in your prayer requests. So we would just love to have them to deal with, and at the same time, we would love to have the gratification slips filled out there about telling us what a great job we did, and how you had wonderful results out of our praying with you. That said, there are practitioners here this morning, and we will be available after service if anybody has anything that they would like to deal with, and we can give you a minute or two science of mind affirmative prayer. And that said, it's time for song, silence, and prayer.
All right, from the olden days, this moment, our first word will be blessed. In this moment, I am blessed. Blessed is this moment. Blessed, blessed, blessed. This moment is what I am. Peace in this moment. I am peace. Peace is this moment. Peace still in this moment. I am still is this moment. This moment is what I am.
Let us just take a deep breath and be present with the wonderful energy of this room. Recognizing that each person present here this morning are a conduit through which the divine expresses. Just feel that wonderful energy. Just absolutely know that that expression of the divine is always with you in each moment. Reflecting through all that surrounds you. And as we open ourselves up to this divine energy, let us allow ourselves to recognize there's also divine guidance that allows us to step into our own magnificence each day, in each moment. Let us be reminded to see in each person in our experience that reflection of the divine. Absolutely see the divine reflected through each person, each event. And just give blessings for the opportunity that you have this day and each opportunity to truly make a difference within our wonderful community. And so it is. I have a very special reading this morning from Reverend Bonnie. Whenever the image of thought is set, there the power to create resides. God, if thou seest God, dust if thou seest dust. We can see good wherever evil appears to be. Then we can remove the evil when we when we bring a light into the darkest room. Where goes the darkness? Darkness neither comes nor goes when anywhere. It's never was a thing of itself, merely a condition. We have power over condition. The light is greater than the darkness, nor has the darkness any power over the light. Darkness is the great denial of the light, but it really did not deny the light, for where the light was, the darkness was not. We merely bring into the light the darkness. We merely bring in the light, the darkness vanishes into the native nothingness. There is power of reality over seeing opposition or apparent separation. We can sit in the shadow or move into the sunshine. Sitting in the shadow, we may not really believe that there is any sunshine, but the sun would be there all the time, and all the time we are in bondage. The real freedom exists. It is there, but we must awaken to it. The law of mind as quickly creates one form as another for us, as we must allow the patterns of our thought to become the molded for the highest sense of reality we possess.
So it is.
So it is. Would you like me to introduce you, or do you?
No,
No,
I'm
just-
not going to sing. You're good. You're done. Thank you.
It is so nice having you back,
Thank you.
and that beautiful smile of yours.
Well, I'm good. Charlie and I are going to play a song called Heart of Life. You ready? I hate capos because they can just like change keys like that. And I have to go, wait, black, white, white, black, white, white. Are you ready with your capo?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, all right. I hate to see you cry, lying there in that position. There's things you need to hear, so turn off your tears and listen. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. Love, it won't all seem the way it should. I know the heart of life is good. You know it's nothing new. Bad news never had good timing. But then the circle of your friends will defend the silver lining. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. And though it won't all seem the way it should, I know the heart of life is Pain throws your heart to the ground. And love turns the whole thing around. And though it won't all seem the way it should, I know the heart of life is good. I know it's good. good.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. Thank you again. And thank you for joining her on the guitar. Thank you, thank you. It's good to hear her voice in this room again, isn't it? I was thinking, Mary Lynn, that those words that you started off with, we could have been singing to you the last year. Yes, I think we all want to see her back smiling, and it's hard when we have all those things that keep creating the tears as well. And I think a lot of us in this room have been there, so we're grateful to have you back. Do you want to sit? Do you guys want to get down?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the fan is blowing everything around, so I'm going to try to figure this out.
Okay,
And
go
I'll
for
try
it.
to be more quiet.
No, it's fine. I just didn't know if you wanted your opportunity to get off the stage. Okay. Well, we are now in a new month. It's May already, which is hard for me to believe, but here it is. And this whole year, we have been looking at living out loud. And May, we're moving into the idea of light within the shadows. And so the song, of course, Mary Lynn picked a perfect song as we look at what it is that we're experiencing, how we experience it, and how we can find light there. And as I was contemplating this idea, I had a memory pop into my head from back in my childhood days. I was probably in about second or third grade, and I was sitting on the principal's lap in his office, and he was giving me a test. And it hadn't dawned on me till later as an adult that was probably when I was given my IQ test. My brother had been determined gifted and had moved into a gifted program, and I know I was told many years later they also tested me, so I think that's what this was. But part of the test, there was a picture, and I remember that picture really well, and I tried to redraw it, so it's very rudimentary, but it looked like this, so for the camera. And he asked me to look at this picture and determine what was wrong with it, what was not right. Anybody see what's wrong? The sun is in the wrong place. Okay. Well, I looked at it and I was able to say, wait a minute, the shadow needs to be behind the person, not in front. And he was very excited that I knew that. And so I got real excited that I knew that. I thought, well, that must mean I'm pretty smart. But I thought about how it is that we use shadow and light and darkness as metaphors for what it is we're experiencing in life. And a common metaphor that I often heard was if you just look at the light, then that's what you see, and the shadow's behind you, so you don't see it. And we think of the shadow, we often consider the shadow those things that we don't want to see, the things that we consider bad or uncomfortable, things that we don't want to experience, and sometimes it's the unknown. So, as usual, we're in line with the Science of Mind magazine, and this one is all about light in the shadows. And in here, there's an article called Light Within the Shadows, and she talks about in here that often we fear what we do not understand and cannot control. Well, that was the first time I'd heard it put quite that way. I knew about what we don't understand, but what we can't control. And she said, darkness is one of those places. And so when we fear these things and when we don't want to experience them, if we just look at the light, then we can go, okay, they're behind us, and we can ignore them. Some of those things might be shame and fear, and I see some of you are already advanced enough, you give me that, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. So we have all these associations with what is shadow and darkness. And yet I think that Ernest Holmes would consider this part of race consciousness. We've been taught to think of shadow and darkness as the bad, as the things we don't want to experience, as the difficult. But I want you to think about what else happens in darkness. What else happens in the shadows? Something that maybe isn't so bad. Go ahead, you can answer. What else happens in darkness? Sleep, right? And studies have shown that if the darker the room, the better we sleep. So we get our rest and restoration from darkness. What else? Stars. Yeah, that's the little bits of light that come out. We don't get to see them. They're up there, but we don't get to see them unless it's dark. And Jim knows all about that because he takes beautiful pictures of them at night. What else happens in darkness?
Possibly silence.
Silence. Yeah, silence is a good thing. I thought about the womb, gestation. How much time does the entity that's being born spend in darkness before it's birthed? Seeds, right? We put seeds in the soil. They need that darkness before they germinate, and then they come out and start seeking the light. And what happens here in New Mexico when there's shadow and shade? It's cooler, yeah. We've grown to like that here. I think that we seek it out. We want to be in the shadows of the trees. We want to be where it's cooler when the summertime hits. So as we've made our progression this year, we've looked at curiosity, authenticity, and vulnerability. And so it seemed to just flow right into this idea of light in the shadows, because part of what we've been doing all along is getting used to sort of flipping how it is we think about things. We've started looking at things from different perspectives. And I started thinking about that authentic self we were seeking out and vulnerability and how that feels. And sometimes it's that stuff that we don't necessarily want to look at. We might consider it the shadow, but we've been talking about embracing all of it. Embracing all of it and bringing it in. So in some ways, we're looking at the darkness in a new light. No pun intended. Come on, y'all. I wrote that one. That's an interesting sentence. And in our community book that we've been reading together, several of us, I've got all my sticky notes everywhere, community book by Peter Block. In here, he talks about the importance of flipping how we look at things, how we see things, and he calls it inverting our thinking. He says, inverting our thinking does not change the world, but it creates a condition where the shift in the world becomes possible. So we can think about things in a different way, and doing that allows for that shift or change to take place. So I thought about inverting our thinking about shadows and darkness, starting to look at what's positive there, what's good that takes place there, and how embracing it can help us heal and improve our world. And what first struck me as I started thinking about this is that we can't have shadows without light. We don't necessarily see as many shadows when it's dark out. A little bit if there's a light source somewhere, but it requires the light to create the shadows. And the woman that wrote this article in the Science of Mind magazine said it so beautifully. I'm going to share her words with you. Light and dark exist together and cradle each other, each with its own characteristics. They may seem to operate independently, but actually they are a pair that work in unison as complements along the spectrum. So I love that vision of cradling each other, light and dark, together. And I thought about also, did you ever turn around as a kid and look at your shadow and start to play with it? Try and chase it? Did you ever play with trying to make it bigger and smaller, and as you moved from the light source to seeing what you could do, what you could create? Remember those things we could do with our hands too? I don't know how to do them, but we would do that during sleepovers. We would play with shadows and light. And so again, there's nothing inherently bad about shadows and about darkness. It's part of our thinking. So I thought about that adage of as without, so within, as above, so below. And if we're looking at shadows and light, and then we're taking that idea from the physical world into our metaphysical world, we can start to see shadows and darkness in a different way. We can shift and invert our thinking. Instead of turning our back on the shadows and ignoring them, we can turn around, and I thought about consider facing them and playing with all that stuff that's there in the shadows, dancing with it. That's why when Mary Lynn said, go ahead and dance, Doug, when you're up here on the platform, you can dance all you want. We're going to dance with the shadows and the light and see how it plays in our life. Can you see if you think about it metaphysically, what it is that creates that shadow to look bigger than it really is. You know, how we can make it look really big. And sometimes in our life, we think that that stuff that we don't want to experience is really huge. But if we turn around and face it, we can start to see, wait a minute, it's really only this big. It looks that way. It's that idea of the illusion. And that's what Ernest Holmes was talking about in that reading. When you put the light on it and direct it, it just disappears, or it makes it smaller. So consider turning around and facing those shadows and dancing with them and figuring out what's making them seem bigger than what they really are. We can face and embrace all of those aspects of ourselves that we've been trying to ignore and keep behind us. Years ago, Reverend Sam from the Wellspring Church, I was going through something, I don't even remember what that was, but he suggested to me that I read this book called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And I will be honest, when he told me to read this book, the rebellious part of me bought it but never opened it. It literally was never read. He highly recommended it as a way to deal with some of the harder things that I was dealing with. It was probably around the time that my mother passed away. And I just was like, oh, don't tell me to read a book. I want you to listen to all my problems, you know. But I thought about this title as I was thinking about this topic, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. So I went ahead and opened it up, and I've started reading it. And in here, this is part of what she says. Every aspect of ourselves has a gift. Every emotion and every trait we possess helps show us the way to enlightenment, to oneness. We all have a shadow that is part of our total reality. Our shadow is here to point out where we are incomplete. It is here to teach us love, compassion, and forgiveness, not just for others, but also for ourselves. And when the shadow is embraced, it can heal us. It is not just our denied darkness that finds its way into the recesses of our shadows. There is a light shadow, and she has that in quotes, light shadow, a place where we have buried our power, our competence, and our authenticity. And that's what we were looking for. The dark parts of our psyches are only dark when they are stuffed away and hidden. When we bring them into the light of our consciousness and find their sacred gifts, they transform us. Then we are free. I guess Sam knew what he was talking about. I'll keep reading it. So as the universe does, these messages start to come as I spend time contemplating, and I think this works for you all as well, too. The message starts to come from different places. And so I'm listening to, go look at this book, and then I thought more about what we're reading in the community book. And part of what he's talking about in there is we create a community as a place that we want to belong, a place that we want to feel that we belong. We often picture, when we talk about community, those what I call kumbaya moments. You know, we want it all to be light. We want it all to be fun and joyful and peaceful. And yet Peter Block points out that there's an importance in conversations, and he calls them possibility conversations, and he says it's important that there's a place for dissent, that there's a place for people to be able to say no as you include them in community. There needs to be a place and a way that people can share their concerns or the things that they're not so sure about as they join into this community. And so what that said to me is there needs to be room for the shadow inside the light and the joy and the fun that we're creating in a community. There needs to be a way that we allow people to express that side of them that we tend to just push behind us. Instead, we can bring it forward. And Peter Block says people feel more accepted and like they belong and they feel safer when their no is allowed to be expressed. When they're allowed to disagree with what's being presented and share maybe different points of view. He said, we will let go of only those doubts we have given voice to. We will let go of only those doubts that we have given voice to. And I started thinking about that because, again, this is a different, as a leader, I'm always, let's just make sure everybody's happy. We want everybody to be happy. And so to think about making space for people to share what doesn't make them happy or what things that they're not comfortable with makes me uncomfortable. But I really think he's got a point here. And I started to think about our principles and what we teach. And we talk about what we resist persists. So if we resist speaking up, if we resist sharing what we're really thinking and feeling about something, if we resist sharing our concerns and our no and our disagreement, what happens? It persists. It starts to grow. And so it made sense that if we make space for people to voice that and share what's going on inside honestly, and we make a space for people to feel heard, then they can resolve what it is and allow that light, so to speak, to shine on it and let it be resolved, as Holmes says, into the nothingness from which it came. In our reading that Doug did for us, thank you, Doug, by merely bringing in the light, the darkness vanishes into its natural nothingness. This is the power of reality over seeming opposition and apparent separation. And again, part of what we've talked about in a lot of classes and in the community book is this idea that we feel like we're separate. And that's where we end up having all the issues that show up that we don't enjoy. And it's when we remember our oneness, when we remember our connection, that we can feel that things have shifted. And so as we create space for people to voice how they're feeling and to hear that, we do that knowing our oneness, knowing that that apparent separation, as Holmes calls it, is just that, it's apparent. And when we allow it to be expressed, we allow light to be shone upon it, that light of oneness, it'll dissipate the tension and the issue that's showing up at that time. It's not denying the darkness. It's not putting it behind us and ignoring it as a shadow. Rather, it's facing it, listening to it, dancing with it, shining light of love and truth and oneness on it until it resolves, until it disappears of its own accord. Now, some of you may wonder, and I've had this question in class, and I have wondered these things myself. What about all those human atrocities that we keep hearing about and seeing? What about the Holocaust? What about Putin invading Ukraine? Whatever the issue is. And I am not going to tell you that I have an answer. This is still something that I think I still grapple with. But I do have a story that I'm going to share with you about an experience that I had. And it's experience that it's hard to put into words, but I'm going to try and share the story with you to see if I can share some of that experience. So back in the summer of 2006, I spent a month in Germany. And I went with someone who was born in Berlin and had spent much of her life there, and so spoke both English and German. And I was also there while I was in my last year of Holmes Institute. And so they gave us a summer homework project, and that was to write a 10-minute talk, 10 minutes, on why do bad things happen to good people. And that was a topic I'd also had to look at when I was in college. So here I am in Berlin thinking about this topic, and they have a new installation, it was new back then, called the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe. And you can look it up online if you want to actually see pictures of what I'm trying to describe to you. It's 4.7 acres, and it's an installation of 2,711 gray concrete, they're rectangle cubes. So they're long, and then they're square at the ends. And they're laid out all over this 4.7 acres, and they're in rows, so the light and the shadow definitely plays on them. And this is over the place where they have a Holocaust museum, and it's what I was told it was that was part of the bunkers that Hitler used, that they turned into this museum. So not only did we go to the memorial and see the installation, but we went downstairs. So you go down underground to see this memorial museum. And so you walk into a hallway that has this long black and white picture, and it's just piles of humans waiting to be dealt with that have been exterminated. That's what greets you. You go into different rooms, and each room is interactive in some way. And so you can push buttons, and things will light up, and you'll see pictures of people, and you'll hear their stories. You'll find out what happened and how they came missing. And there's one room that you can push on a map, and you can find out all the different places where there were the gas chambers, where things were taking place, where there were different battles. And then when you push that button, a screen comes up and you hear the story and you see visuals. And it was very difficult to go through. And the whole time, again, I'm questioning and thinking about what can I say in 10 minutes about why something like this would happen. And at the last, as you go through, there's like 4 big rooms. And when you come out, there's a room that looks like an office. It's the first one that's kind of lit up. And there's computers all around in this room. And that's the place where people can go and register that they are alive. They can put in any information they have of their ancestors, what happened to them, if they're still alive. And people can go search for their family members as well. So my friend was doing that while I just sort of sat there trying to handle the emotion that was going on in me, when outside was this huge thunder and lightning. I mean, this amazing storm broke out, and you could hear it above us, and the stairwell had glass and plants outside the glass, and you could see the rain just pouring down the stairwell. And so we decided to wait out the storm until it blew across. And when it was done, we gathered our wits about us and went upstairs. So we're climbing up out of this space into all these cement blocks again. And I get to the top of the stairs and I turn around and the sky is black. And up against the black clouds are as a double rainbow, bright double rainbow. Still gets me. And I looked at that, and on all these things that look almost like they could have been coffins, these big squares, were raindrops that were sparkling in the sun that had come out on the other side of us. And all I could do was feel. I could just feel that. I don't know why humankind does this to each other. I don't know why we thought at some point we would have learned and moved past it, and now it sort of seems like we've got to learn this lesson again, whatever it might be. But what I did get was a sense of hope. When I saw the rainbow, those rainbows always come out and are supposed to be that symbol of hope, and I felt it. I saw the beauty of it up against these black clouds, and I thought, humankind can evolve. It has to evolve. How? I don't know. The community book gives me hope, because I think that as we do what he's instructing in there and focus on possibility, as we invert our thinking, as we look at things from new ways and different ways, as Holmes would say, as we change our thinking, we get to change our lives. We can make room for the no. We can make room for doubt and concerns versus resisting it and shutting it down and then letting it persist and erupt in violence. There have to be ways that we learn to listen to each other and find ways to bring into the room what we need to and move through it, remembering our oneness, as opposed to the separation that was being taught back then, but our oneness, and make room for all the different gifts that people have to bring. We keep inviting people to the table that we aren't used to talking to. We continue to do that so we can open to the oneness that we are with all these people. We invite our shadows to speak. We invite them to dance and play with us. No more just turning toward the light and ignoring those shadows. And I don't know if some of you remember, it's been since 2019, this is the book I was reading back then, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. This was a fabulous book. And in there, he has a different way of explaining how important it is that we invert our thinking, that we change our thinking. And he talked about how easy it is when we stand in our sense of righteousness and we call out an oppressor, how easy it is for us to become an oppressor. He said, if your activism, whether for social change or for your family to adopt a healthier diet, provokes hostility, that might be a mirror of inner discord. And so once again, we're being reminded, all these messages coming at me, we need to do the work inside, we need to do the work as a community, and then let that move out into the world. I hope and pray someday us humans get this done. We figure out how to live the oneness that we know we are. The community book says that we all helped to create the world we already have. And I think Ernest Holmes talks about that too. The importance of taking accountability for what it is we see in our world already. We face it, we embrace it, all those shadows, and we find a way to then begin to dance in the shadows. No more turning away from that. Instead, as we turn toward it, I was reminded also that we bring the light in and through us. So even though we might turn from what we consider our source, that source is moving through us. So we turn and face the shadow, and we're bringing the light through us. Ernest Holmes said, God does for us what God can do through us. So we become the channel for that light. The question of why bad things happen to good people has been around for a long time. It's been around long before our times. I think it's been something humankind has been grappling with on and off. And Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind text, this is on page 111, says the age-long discussion of the problem of evil will never be answered until we realize that evil is not a thing of itself. It is simply a misuse of the law of freedom. The problem of evil will be met only to the degree that we cease doing evil and do good. For evil will disappear when we no longer indulge in it. When the whole world sees the right and does it, then and not until then will the problem of evil be solved for the entire race. So once again, that idea brought hope to me. And yet the question was, how will the whole world see what is right and do it? And how will we agree on what is right? That's where we're at now. How do we agree? How do we build communities where we might have different ideas of what's right? When we create communities where it is safe to just be, where it is, what is the word, Will? I'm sorry, not just safe, but what was it? Brave. Where we can be brave. Where we create spaces where people can be bravely who they are, where they can dissent, where they can be heard, where we can all be authentic. As that happens, I see the world evolving to a better place. So I have come to believe, as I've been processing this over the years, but especially this month again, this thing that we say, change your thinking, change your life. It's no longer just a cute little adage that applies to me, making my life better for me. Changing my thinking from just the personal to the communal. From seeing the shadow side as bad and putting it behind me and ignoring it, to turning around, facing and embracing some of that stuff that I don't necessarily want to see. And making space for you to do that. For me to do that, for us to look at what we agree with, what we don't, and have the space to be brave and express that. Inverting our thinking about so many things. I read another article, it was too much to share this morning, where it talked about being bold and responsible, where we take accountability. All of this is key to creating that world that we want to see that works for everyone. And so the vision that I had was originally how to, looking at the light and that shadow going in the right direction. And it's now shifted to, I saw like a forest full of trees where the light filters through the leaves and you see the light and the shadows dancing together. Can you see that? Have you seen that before? I saw that happening, and I saw me dancing in those shadows and the light, and I saw all of us doing that. And so I want to read Ernest Holmes' words. This is a little long, but I love how he puts this. He said, "It is a beautiful and true thought to realize that everyone stands in the shadow of a mighty mind, a pure intelligence, and a divine givingness. Not alone unto the great comes the soft tread of the unseen guest. The arrogant have not perceived the simplicity of faith, but the pure in heart see God. The farmer has seen the heavenly host in its fields. The child has frolicked with him or her at play. The mother has clasped this amazing truth to her breast, and the fond lover has seen him or her in the eyes of its beloved. We look too far away for reality. The intelligence by and through which we perceive that there is a spiritual presence and an infinite mind in the universe constitutes our receptivity to it and decides its flow through us. We have made a riddle of simplicity. Therefore, we have not read the sermons written in stones, nor interpreted the light of love running through life. To return to a same simplicity is one of the first and most important things to do. All of us receive some light, and this light is always the same light. There is one nature diffused through all nature, one God incarnated in all people. The divine incarnation is inherent in our nature. We are immersed in an infinite knowingness. The question is, how much of this reality are we going to express in our own lives? The direct approach is always the best and the most effective. Insofar as anyone has spoken the truth, we have proclaimed God. It matters not what our particular approach may have been. The scientist and the philosopher, the priest and the professor, the humanitarian and the empire builder all have caught some gleam of the eternal glory, and each has spoken in his or her own tongue that language which is of itself universal." That was all Holmes. So, as we move into this month and think about light in the shadow, I encourage us to consider dancing with the shadows and seeing what kind of world we can create. And so it is. And will the practitioners please surround this room? Take a deep breath. That was some heavy storytelling. Just breathe in to that space, knowing our wholeness, our oneness, knowing that as humans, we do learn, we evolve, we change, and how good it is. We open our hearts and minds to that eternal change that allows more light to shine in and through us. We allow ourselves to be that conduit. We allow ourselves to do the changing in our thinking, the inversion in our thinking that brings about more light shown into those dark spaces. We embrace the shadows. We embrace that which we haven't wanted to look at, and we find ways to transform it and transmute it as we bring our light and our love into the situations that we feel called to do so. And so I give thanks for this morning, for these topics, for this way of thinking and allowing Spirit to think in and through us, to be in and through us, to shine its light in and through us. I continue to step into hope, to keep my focus on the rainbows, knowing that it took the rain and the dark clouds for them to be created. I open my heart and mind to what does that mean and how does that impact my life and the life of those around me. I open to being called and moved in whatever way Spirit is ready to move in and through us as we continue to develop and grow as a community and a space where we are allowed to be our authentic selves. I am grateful for this opportunity, this time, and this way of being. And I just release these words knowing that each person here is blessed and so very blessed as we say together, and so it is. And thank you, practitioners. More from Mary Lynn.
The other special music, Shadow and Light. I don't know if I need to say anything or not. When I came across this this piece, I'd never heard of the artist before. The name of it is called Shadow and Light. And I knew that it might not be exactly Bonnie's message, but I just could not resist the lyrics of this song. And even though I'd never heard of this artist, I can remember his name because we have the same initials. His name is Martin Luke Brown. So if you want to look him up, I think these words are amazing. But I was kind of thinking of Bonnie's talk, flipping how you look at things. The spectrum of light and dark. So black and white being the absence or the complete fullness of color. What if there's something in the middle of light and dark? Shadow and light. And so it does all start with us as we listen to each other and just try to bring that light of love. Okay, ready? Governed by loneliness, fueled by rejection, living in perfect mess like it's all right. Organized chaos, treated like freedom. Do you still believe when you close your eyes? Oh, we've been running circles so long. Answers turn to questions and rights turn to wrong. If a smile is a smile and a tear's still a tear, show me our differences, I'll show you what we feel. If love isn't color, then maybe we're blind, 'cause it feels like we're living shadow and light. Sitting on restlessness can surely get frozen. We're doing our very best to compromise. Nothing will change unless we keep our hearts open. Can't feel the weight, then we won't survive. Oh, we've been running circles so long. We find hope in desperation and the strength to carry on. Well, a smile is a smile and a tear's still a tear. Show me our differences, I'll show you what we care. Color, and maybe we're blind, 'cause it feels like we're living a shadow and light. Feels like we're living a shadow and light. If you take a little love, give more than you got. If you take a little love, give more than you got. If you take a little love, give more than you got. If you take a little love, give more than you got. Yeah. A smile is a smile, and a tear's still a tear. Show me our differences, I'll show you what we share. If love is in color, then baby we're blind. 'Cause it feels like we're living a shadow in light. Feels like we're living a shadow in light. A shadow in light. A shadow in light.
I'd say she did it again. That was perfect, don't you think? That's amazing. Thank you, Mary Lynn. So good to have you back. Thank you. You are welcome. I know you will be welcomed anytime you would like to be here. And we're grateful that Sarah gets to have a day off and do whatever she needed to do this weekend. Thank you, Doug, for helping, and thank you, Ken, for taking Bob's place this morning and helping us out. It takes a community, and we've got an amazing community here. Well, this is the time that we consider giving back to this center. There are offering plates at both doors, so consider that on your way out. We've shifted months, so we have a new place that we are giving 10% to. This month, it goes to La Casa Incorporated. La Casa's mission is to support everyone affected by domestic violence, and their vision, a just and safe community free from violence and abuse. That seems to fit what we're looking at this month. There is more about them. They are 501c3. You can read about it on our website as well as in the newsletter. At this time, let's just say our blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And so let's just sing together, I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we do have 3 practitioners in the room. I know that was heavy, some of that, so please make use of their amazing ability to pray with you, release, and just allow yourself to move out of here healed this morning as much as you can. So make use of their services. They'll be here afterward. And I want to thank them for all that they do. She's got her music ready to go. We are going to sing what we used to sing. So let's just stand and surround this room. And we will sing Mary Lynn's song that she wrote for us to close with.
I leave here in peace. I step out in love. I know everything I need is part of me, and I will not speak until I first think. Is it kind and true and needed? One life, God's life, my life now. One life, God's life, my life now. I leave here in peace. I step out in love. know everything I need is part of me, and I will not speak until our first thing is it kind and true and needed. One life, God's life, my life now. One life, God's life, my life now. One life, God's life, my life now.
Go dance with the shadows.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Charlie. I did not see